On the issue of 50,000 naira minimum national wealth, it is painful that we are still dragging on this national minimum wage. Painful in the sense that if we look at the squandermania and the West that politicians are displaying, especially politicians in the corridors of power, then you begin to see the insult and the incongruity and the assault on the public servant for being offered 50,000 naira as minimum wage. Why would anybody contemplate giving minimum wage of 50,000 to a Nigerian worker when 50,000 naira translates to nothing? Is not even enough to transport most of the workers from their place of work back home on a daily basis. It's not enough. 50,000 naira is an insult to decency. It's an insult to common sense. It's an insult to the reality on ground. Particularly if you consider the amount of ridiculous, reckless expenditures being incurred in full view of the public. 15 billion naira allocated for what? To renovate Bola Tinubu's official residence in Lagos. 15 billion naira allocated for what? To build new residence for the vice president in Abuja. 800 million naira allocated to renovate the villa and the current residence of the vice president. 10 billion naira for the office for the renovation of the office of the chief of staff to the president. I can continue. 201 million naira for what? To feed the villa animals. How much? 10 billion naira has been allocated as what? As overhead cost. You can continue counting ridiculous, insulting, insensitive expenditures on the side of the executive, on the side of the legislature. Look at the amount of money that was given to legislators to buy what? For the purchase of Prado cars. For what? For their Xmas gifts. For what? For their satellite gifts. For what? For their garages. For what? For their library. For what? For their clinics. Into billions of naira. Yet, a paltry, negligible, insensitive, insulting 50,000 naira is being offered to the public servant as a minimum wage. That is unacceptable. That is insulting. That is mean. It is callous. It is sadistic. It's unacceptable. I back the labor for calling on for strike on Monday. They should do it in full force. They should implement it in full force. They must insist on it. They must reject it. They must be given a living wage, a decent living wage, even if they are going to strike for the next 1,000 years. May God help Jonathan. May God console Jonathan. May God give additional patience to Jonathan. Under Jonathan, at every point in time, a strike. Once they increase the cost of liter of fuel, a strike. Led by who? By Ibn Buhari, by Wale Soyinka, and so many people. They are now all silent on the face of fuel going beyond the reach of virtually 90% of people who use it. Yet Jonathan was patient, a patient bird. Now he is like last. Now I'm sure many people are regretting that Jonathan was indeed a gentleman, a democrat, a leader, an elder. May God bless Jonathan.